The summer heat had settled into the small town of Cedar Falls like a thick, warm blanket. Emily Parker had lived there for over a decade now, building a life with her husband, Robert, and raising their blended family. Her stepson, Jason, had moved in with them full-time 2 years ago after his mother relocated for work overseas. It hadn't been an easy adjustment at first. Jason was 15 then, dealing with the typical turmoil of teenage life, but over time, Emily had grown to care for him deeply. He was now 17, and though quiet and often to himself, he was respectful, kind, and fiercely independent. Emily had the house to herself that afternoon. Robert was away on a 3-day business trip in Chicago, and she had just returned from grocery shopping. She carried 2 bags into the kitchen and set them on the counter, pushing a strand of hair from her damp forehead. As she began unpacking the groceries, she noticed Jason's car was parked in the driveway. That struck her as odd. He had told her earlier that morning that he was meeting up with friends and wouldn't be back until later in the evening. Thinking maybe his plans had changed, she moved upstairs to check on him. As she reached the top of the stairs, she noticed Jason's door was slightly ajar. She was about to knock when she heard muffled sounds coming from inside. Nothing alarming, but enough to make her pause. There was a brief silence, followed by a sudden noise, like something falling. Emily instinctively pushed the door open, concerned. Inside, Jason stood frozen near his desk, holding what looked like an old photo album. His cheeks flushed immediately upon seeing her, his expression a mix of surprise and embarrassment. "Oh, Emily. I didn't hear you come in," he said quickly, attempting to slide the album back into his drawer. "I didn't mean to barge in," Emily said, raising her hands. "I just thought you were out with your friends." "I heard something fall." Jason chuckled nervously. "Yeah, I was going to go out, but plans changed. I found this album in the attic earlier. I didn't mean to make a mess." Emily stepped closer, her curiosity piqued. "What album is that?" Jason hesitated for a moment and then pulled it out again. He placed it on the desk, opening the cover slowly. The pages were filled with photographs, many of which Emily had never seen before. They were older pictures, clearly taken before Emily had joined Robert's life. There were photos of Jason as a toddler, holding his mother's hand at a park, riding a tricycle, birthday parties, snapshots of a life that felt distant and somehow sacred. "I guess I just missed her today," Jason said softly, his voice barely above a whisper. "Found this while looking for my old baseball glove. Thought I'd look through it." Emily's heart softened. She had never tried to replace Jason's mother. That wasn't her place. But seeing him in such a vulnerable state stirred something maternal in her. "She looks like she loved you very much," Emily said, gently touching the corner of one of the photographs. "You were an adorable kid." Jason gave a small smile.
"Yeah, she did. It just gets hard sometimes."
"Dad doesn't talk about her much." "I don't either." There was a silence that followed, not uncomfortable, but thoughtful. "I think it's okay to miss her," Emily said. "You don't have to keep it bottled up." Jason looked at her, his expression more relaxed now. "Thanks. I guess I didn't expect to get emotional today. It kind of hit me out of nowhere." Emily nodded, understanding all too well how memories could surface uninvited. "You know, if you ever want to talk about her, I'm here. I know I didn't know her, but I care about you. That means a lot to me." Jason nodded, brushing his sleeve over his eyes. "Thanks, Emily. Really." Just then, the doorbell rang, breaking the moment. Emily gave Jason a comforting pat on the shoulder and headed downstairs. At the door stood Caleb, one of Jason's longtime friends. He looked equally surprised to see Emily. "Oh, hey, Mrs. Parker. Is Jason home?" "Yes, come on in," she said with a smile. "He's upstairs." Caleb bounded up the steps, calling Jason's name as he went. Emily watched them disappear, then closed the door gently. It wasn't the situation she had expected to walk in on, but in that unexpected moment, she had glimpsed the depth of her stepson's heart, and it drew them a little closer than before. Later that evening, after dinner, Jason came into the kitchen while Emily was washing dishes. "Hey, I wanted to say thanks again," he said, leaning on the counter. "For earlier." Emily dried her hands and turned to him. "Anytime. Really. I think I might like to talk about her sometime. When it feels right. I'd be honored. Jason nodded, a flicker of peace in his eyes. Good night, Emily. Good night, Jason. As he headed off to bed, Emily felt something shift inside her. She hadn't expected to bond with her stepson that day. But life was full of unexpected situations, and sometimes they held the most meaningful moments of all.